All right, good morning, teachers. Welcome to part two of global justice. Today, we're looking at global warming, and that's our next segment that we'll be doing. So, today's goals is to one, look over, okay, what is global warming, what is climate change, okay, and how do scientists, all right, figure out what data do they use? How do they know that the climate is warming, that the Earth is changing? Before we do that, though, we have a slide here. Okay, it's identifying a bunch of ways that we can use global learning and look into sustainable goals for the world. All right, like ending hunger, ending poverty. Okay, using affordable and clean energy. So far, we've already looked at number 13. All right, looking at the climate. Number 14, looking at the water, and even 15, life on land. What is it when we're dealing with plastics? What does that look like? We also looked at what does it mean to be sustainable cities and communities. Number 11 and 12 being responsible consumption and production. So these are all things that we've already investigated. We just want to let you know there's a lot of other topics that can be discussed. And these are all topics that students, if they choose to, can possibly do their capstone project on. So we're looking at this now. Today's goal again is to look at what is climate change, what is global warming. So we have some uh, fun videos for you guys to watch today. The first one is when will the next ice age happen? Okay, hypothetical. But when we get really started here is uh, we have a little documentary here on what is global warming. Okay, it's going to walk you through what scientists the definition of it is, and how do they figure out, and what is greenhouse gases. Next is a 6-minute video from Veridacio. He's a guy that I used to use all the time when I taught physics. Very intelligent, but he does a fact versus fiction. It's kind of funny, kind of but serious at the same time. What are the arguments for? What are the arguments against global warming? And there are a lot of the ones that you hear all the time, depending on which news station you listen to. So after you watch that video, have a discussion with the kids. Hey, have you ever heard any of these? Have you ever heard a politician or social media or friends or family member use some of the arguments either for or against the existence of global warming and climate change? We have a graph here straight from NASA. You'll notice here that over the centuries, okay, this is a graph of the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Scientists believe they have been able to reproduce this graph based off of core samples from ice in Antarctica. All right, they believe that the ice in Antarctica is thousands and thousands and hundred thousands of years old, and by drilling into the ice, right, they can record the amount of or measure the amount of carbon dioxide trapped in that ice, and that tells them how much carbon dioxide was in the environment and in the atmosphere. Now you'll notice here that for all the years that they measured, it never goes above this line until they get to recent history. In the 1950s, the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has now gone above a point that has never gone above before. And it is currently rising, rising, and rising. Interesting. What has changed in all this time? Human beings. So it's very possible, and this is the connection they're trying to make, is that, hey, this is the existence of human beings and the industrial age and burning fossil fuels. This is what's changed. Maybe that's the connection. Okay. They've also got a graph here from NASA showing the temperature change of the Earth. They use satellites to record the temperature of the Earth very accurately. They have many other ways of recording the Earth's temperature. But they're saying that from 1910, the planet's average surface temperature has risen 2 degrees. Doesn't seem like very much, 2 degrees. However, when you start talking about the climate and how cloud formation and all that stuff works, it's actually very significant. All right, we'll look at the very next slide. Ocean temperatures. Okay, the ocean, obviously we know covers over 75% of the Earth. It is actually where the majority of the energy is stored. When the sunlight comes down, where does it hit? It hits most of the ocean because there's more ocean than there's land, right? The ocean actually absorbs that light energy and stores it in the form of heat. Now, we know, all right, as scientists are also saying that the ocean itself has come up 0.6 degrees 0.6 degrees. That doesn't seem like very much. But why is that so significant? Well, listen, where do hurricanes get their energy from? From the ocean, right? When hurricanes form down here in this nice, really warm ocean, okay, that's where they build their energy. If the water were really, 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 really cold, like even frozen, we wouldn't have hurricanes because they wouldn't get their energy from anywhere. So if the water temperature goes up, the size and the strength of the hurricanes will also go up. That's why it's very significant. Also, if the temperature of the water goes up, that also means that the amount of ice that exists is also going to decrease. So just to recap, scientists use ice core samples from Antarctica to determine how much carbon dioxide was in the air. They used surface temperatures that you'll see in the videos that you watched from the International Space Station, and ocean temperatures, right, to help make models and forecast future climate patterns. Okay, here's a video on how they use the International Space Station and other satellites to record the Earth's temperature. So, debate discussion time. Is climate change a science? Is it really a science? We know that biology, we know that physics, okay, and chemistry are sciences. Is climate change a science? Does climate change scientists incorporate those different fields out there? Very interesting. Now, the challenge for this week is actually pretty simple. Okay, next week they'll be doing a scientific experiment at their house on their own. This week is their chance to gather the materials needed. I have a link here that takes them to a page that shows them what they need to collect. I'm also going to make a video, and I'll post a video in your Google Classroom of me collecting the items and what they need. So all they need to do this week is collect all the items and take a picture of their items to prove to us that they have what they need to do the experiment, so that when next Wednesday comes, they're ready to go. They don't have to go around and search for it. So we give them a full week to gather the items just in case they need to take stuff from recycling or they need to go outside and gather stuff. They have 7 days to get it all together so that next week there's no excuses that, oh, I didn't know, I didn't have enough time to get ready. So it's a pretty straightforward, pretty simple lesson this week, guys. Lots of videos. So chat it up with the kids. Have some fun. Hope it goes well.